Did you know that 81% of seniors who move into nursing homes report feelings of regret within the first 6 months? I was one of them, but what shocked me wasn't just the regret, it was discovering the 7 hidden realities about nursing home life that no one warns you about before you sign those admission papers. After spending 3 years documenting my experience and interviewing over 50 fellow residents, I've uncovered patterns that the eldercare industry doesn't want you to know. These insights have helped hundreds of families make better decisions about senior care, and today, I'm sharing them with you. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what makes nursing homes so problematic for so many seniors, and what your alternatives really are, even if you think you've run out of options. What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Eleanor, and I share the unfiltered truth about aging in America, based on my own experiences and extensive research. Today's video might be one of the most important ones I've ever made. 3 years ago, after a minor fall that resulted in a broken hip, I allowed myself to be convinced that moving into a nursing home was the safe and responsible choice. I had just turned 72, was recently widowed, and my children lived in different states. The medical staff and social workers painted a picture of a supportive community where I'd receive quality care, make new friends, and never have to worry about managing a household again. The reality? It was the worst decision of my life, one that cost me my independence, dignity, and nearly broke my spirit before I finally found a way out. What makes this topic so critical is that right now 1.3 million Americans live in nursing homes, and that number is projected to double by 2030 as baby boomers age. Yet a shocking 94% of seniors say they want to remain in their own homes as they age. So why is there such a disconnect? Most people have no idea what nursing home life is really like until they or a loved one experiences it firsthand. And by then it's often incredibly difficult to reverse course. That's why today I'm going to reveal 7 hidden realities about nursing home life that I wish someone had told me before I made my decision. And if you're watching this thinking, this doesn't apply to me yet, think again. The decisions you make in your 50 and 60s about your health, your finances, your living situation will directly impact your options later. Even if you're watching this for an aging parent, what you learn today could save both you and them from a painful situation. So let's dive into the 7 hidden realities of nursing home life that no one tells you about. The loss of autonomy is soul-crushing, the silent theft of your basic freedoms. The most devastating aspect of nursing home life isn't the institutional food or the shared bathrooms. It's the profound loss of control over the most basic aspects of your daily existence. Research from the Journal of Aging Studies shows that loss of autonomy is the #1 predictor of depression in nursing home residents. Yet nobody warns you about how complete this loss will be. From my first day, I discovered that I no longer controlled when I would wake up, when I would eat, what I would eat, when I could shower, or even when I could go outside. The facility operated on a rigid schedule. Breakfast at 7 a.m., lunch at noon, dinner at 5 p.m. Miss it, and you might not eat. Showers were scheduled twice a week on designated days. Medications were administered on their timetable, not when I felt I needed them. Let me share a moment that crystallized this reality for me. 6 weeks after moving in, I woke up at 5 a.m. and wanted to watch the sunrise from the garden, something I'd done regularly at home. When I tried to go outside, I was stopped by staff who explained the doors remain locked until 8 a.m. for safety reasons. I argued that I was perfectly capable of sitting in a garden without supervision, but it didn't matter. I wasn't allowed outside until they decided it was permissible. That morning I sat by the window, crying as I watched the sun rise through the glass, feeling like a prisoner more than a resident. What happens when this autonomy disappears? The psychological impact is profound. Studies show that seniors who lose autonomy experience a 30% faster decline in cognitive abilities and a 40% increase in mortality rates within 2 years. If you want to avoid this fate, you need to understand that there are graduated care options that preserve independence, from aging in place with home modifications to assisted living communities that offer help only when needed, to continuing care retirement communities that adjust services as your needs change. There are options that don't strip away your basic freedoms. And if you're helping an aging parent, remember, convenience for you may mean confinement for them. Always prioritize the least restrictive environment possible. If you're finding value in these insights so far, hit that like button and subscribe for more unfiltered truths about aging in America. The financial trap is real and devastating. The hidden costs that deplete life savings. Before moving into the nursing home, I was told it would cost approximately $7,500 per month, covered partially by Medicare and my supplemental insurance. What they didn't explain clearly was that Medicare only covers skilled nursing care for a maximum of 100 days following a qualifying hospital stay, and even then, only fully covers the first 20 days. The reality? Within 4 months, I was paying over $9,000 monthly out of pocket as costs mysteriously increased and coverage decreased. My life savings, which I'd carefully built over 50 years of working as a teacher, began disappearing at an alarming rate. What most people don't realize is that nursing homes are primarily businesses designed to maximize profit. The average facility operates on a 20 to 25% profit margin, and they achieve this through a complex web of supplemental charges and care level adjustments. For example, 3 months into my stay, I was reclassified as needing moderate assistance rather than minimal assistance, a change that added $1,200 to my monthly bill. The reason? I had asked for help reaching items on a high shelf twice in 1 week. The American Association of Retired Persons reports that 70% of seniors who enter nursing homes exhaust their savings within 1 year. I was on track to join that statistic. Even more troubling is what happens once your savings are depleted. You transition to Medicaid coverage, which often means being moved to a different, usually more crowded room, receiving lower priority for care from staff, losing access to certain amenities or programs, sometimes even being transferred to a different facility altogether. The financial impact extends beyond just the resident. Many children find themselves having to supplement their parents' care, creating intergenerational financial strain that affects multiple families. To avoid this trap, explore alternatives like PACE programs of all-inclusive care for the elderly, which provide comprehensive care while allowing seniors to remain at home. Veterans should investigate VA aid and attendance benefits, which many don't know about, but can provide substantial financial support for in-home care. The financial devastation of nursing home care isn't inevitable, but avoiding it requires advanced planning and knowledge of the system that most families simply don't have until it's too late. The care is often dangerously inadequate when professional care becomes professional neglect. Perhaps the most shocking reality I discovered was that the 24/7 professional care promised in glossy brochures often translates to dangerously inadequate attention from overworked, undertrained staff. The statistics tell the story. The average nursing assistant in America is responsible for 12 to 15 residents per shift and earns just above minimum wage. Staff turnover rates average 128% annually, meaning most facilities completely replace their staff every 9 months. What does this mean in practical terms? It means waiting 45 minutes for assistants to use the bathroom. It means medications administered late or sometimes missed entirely. It means showers being rushed or skipped because there simply isn't enough time. During my 2nd month, I developed a urinary tract infection that progressed to a kidney infection requiring hospitalization, all because my calls for help with increasing discomfort were repeatedly dismissed as normal aging complaints. The hospital doctor who treated me said this was a pattern he saw weekly from local nursing facilities. Even more disturbing was witnessing the different levels of care received by residents based on factors that had nothing to do with their medical needs. Those with frequent family visitors received noticeably better attention. Those who were quiet or non-complaining were routinely overlooked. and those with cognitive impairments often received the bare minimum of care. A Harvard study found that 95% of nursing home residents have experienced or witnessed neglect. Yet families often don't recognize the signs. Unusual weight loss, new bed sores, unexplained bruising, increased confusion, or sudden withdrawal. If you or your loved one needs daily assistance, consider home health care, where the caregiver-to ratio is 1:1, not 1:15.02. Adult day healthcare programs combined with family caregiving often provide better supervision than institutional settings. And for those with dementia, specialized memory care communities typically maintain better staff-to-resident ratios than general nursing facilities. The inadequate care in many nursing homes isn't just disappointing, it can be dangerous or even fatal. Don't assume that professional care means quality care. I'd love to know if you've had experiences with nursing homes, either personally or with family members. Share your story in the comments below. The social environment is often toxic when community becomes isolation and conflict. One of the most misleading promises of nursing home marketing is the idyllic image of a vibrant community where seniors forge meaningful new friendships and enjoy an active social life. The reality I experienced was starkly different. My nursing home wasn't a community. It was a forced collection of strangers with nothing in common except vulnerability and loss, thrown together in an environment that bred competition for limited resources like staff attention and comfortable seating. The Journal of Gerontology reports that 60% of nursing home residents suffer from depression, compared to 15% of seniors living independently. Much of this stems from the social environment. Let me paint a picture. In my facility, the most coveted spots were the chairs near windows in the common area. Residents would claim these spots hours before any activities, leading to constant tension. Cliques formed, excluding newcomers or those with cognitive or physical limitations. Gossip and backbiting became common coping mechanisms in an environment where people had little control over anything else. Perhaps most painful was the constant reminder of decline. Each week seemed to bring another empty seat at the dining table, as residents passed away or declined rapidly. The revolving door of death creates a psychological burden that's rarely discussed but constantly felt. Then, there's the isolation from the outside world. Despite being surrounded by people, I'd never felt so disconnected from society. Visits from family and friends naturally decreased over time due to the institutional setting, inconvenient location, limited visiting hours, and the emotional difficulty of seeing their loved one in such an environment. Within 6 months, my weekly visits from friends had dwindled to monthly, and my sense of connection to my former community had all but disappeared. I watched the same happen to nearly every resident who didn't have a spouse or child visiting daily. If social engagement is important to you or your loved one, consider alternatives like naturally occurring retirement communities or village-to-village networks that create support systems while allowing seniors to remain in their homes and existing communities. Co-housing arrangements where seniors share space but maintain private quarters offer another alternative that promotes genuine community rather than institutional living. The promised community of nursing homes often becomes isolation in a crowd, a reality that contributes significantly to rapid decline. Your health often declines faster, not slower, the ironic deterioration in healthcare settings. Perhaps the most bitter irony of nursing home life is that facilities marketed as protecting your health often accelerate decline through a combination of institutional factors that work against wellness. Medical research confirms this counterintuitive truth. A study in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that seniors with similar health profiles declined physically and cognitively at rates 30–50% faster in nursing homes than those receiving appropriate support at home. I witnessed this firsthand. Despite having only moderate mobility issues when I entered the facility, within 6 months I struggled to walk unassisted, not because of any new medical condition, but because of institutional practices. Use it or lose it became all too real when staff used wheelchairs for efficiency rather than encouraging walking. Hospital-grade disinfectants disturbed my respiratory system. triggering asthma I hadn't experienced in years. Sleep deprivation became chronic as nighttime checks, hallway noise, and roommate disturbances made restful sleep impossible. Institutional food high in sodium and processed ingredients but low in fresh produce led to inflammation and digestive issues. Most concerning was the approach to medication. New medications were routinely added to address symptoms rather than underlying causes. When I entered, I took 2 daily medications. Within 4 months, I was on 7, including 2 to manage side effects from the others. The medical director spent an average of 3 to 4 minutes with each resident during monthly rounds. When I raised concerns about my declining strength, he suggested another medication rather than addressing the lack of physical activity. What most people don't realize is that nursing homes primarily operate under a medical model focused on managing conditions rather than promoting wellness or rehabilitation. Their success metrics revolve around preventing catastrophic events, falls, elopement, medical emergencies, not maximizing function or quality of life. To avoid this trap, look for care settings that emphasize restorative approaches. Some progressive continuing care communities employ wellness coaches rather than just nursing staff. Home-based care can be structured around maintaining abilities rather than just managing disabilities. Remember, the most dangerous phrase in elder care is, "It's just part of getting older." Decline is not inevitable, and the right environment can promote stability or even improvement rather than accelerated deterioration. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, comment "Choice Matter" below so I know we're connecting. The loss of privacy destroys dignity when every aspect of life becomes public. Until you've experienced institutional living, it's impossible to fully comprehend how the complete loss of privacy affects your sense of self and dignity. From day one, privacy, something I had valued my entire adult life, became a luxury rather than a right. My room was shared with a stranger whose television played constantly. My body was routinely exposed during care procedures with only the thinnest pretense of modesty. My personal belongings were handled, moved, and sometimes disappeared during room cleanings. Even conversations lack privacy in nursing homes. During my second week, I had an emotional phone call with my daughter about my struggles adjusting. A staff member later referenced details from this conversation, making it clear that nothing said within those walls was truly private. The impact of this privacy loss goes beyond mere discomfort. Research in the Journal of Aging Studies shows that loss of privacy correlates directly with loss of identity and increased rates of depression and anxiety in institutional settings. One particularly humiliating aspect was bathroom privacy. Due to fall prevention protocols, bathroom doors couldn't be locked, and staff would often enter with minimal warning. The constant potential for intrusion created anxiety that made normal bodily functions stressful. What makes this especially troubling is how quickly you're expected to adjust to this loss. Staff become desensitized to privacy violations and expect residents to do the same, treating discomfort as uncooperativeness rather than a normal human response. If privacy and dignity are priorities, explore small-scale care homes, sometimes called adult family homes or personal care homes, that typically house 6-8 residents in a residential setting with private rooms. Home-sharing programs that match seniors with compatible housemates can provide both companionship and the support of another person while maintaining separate personal spaces. Most importantly, understand that trading privacy for safety is rarely an all-or-nothing proposition. Modern technology offers monitoring systems that can detect falls or unusual patterns while maintaining privacy in ways that institutional settings rarely achieve. Your right to privacy doesn't diminish with age, though our society often acts as if it does. Escaping is extraordinarily difficult, the hidden barriers to changing your mind. Perhaps the most troubling reality I discovered was how extraordinarily difficult it is to leave once you've entered the nursing home system, a fact rarely discussed during the admission process. The barriers to exit are numerous and formidable. Financial barriers often emerge first. Many seniors sell their homes or terminate leases when entering nursing homes, eliminating their most obvious housing alternative. Others spend down their savings on care costs, limiting their ability to afford deposits on new living arrangements. In my case, I had rented out my home on a 1-year lease, thinking I'd never return to independent living. When I wanted to leave after 8 months, I had nowhere to go. Physical deconditioning creates another barrier. The rapid physical decline that often occurs in nursing homes makes returning to independent living seem increasingly impossible with each passing month. Then there are the psychological barriers. After months of being told you need assistance for everything, you begin to believe it. This institutional dependency is reinforced daily through what psychologists call learned helplessness. Most insidious are the regulatory and administrative barriers. Once classified as needing nursing home level care, changing that classification requires physician support, family agreement, and often legal advocacy. I was repeatedly told I was not safe to live independently, despite evidence to the contrary. A study from the University of California found that only 11% of nursing home residents who express a desire to return to community living actually achieve this goal, not because it's impossible, but because the system creates nearly insurmountable obstacles. To avoid this trap, always consider temporary options first. If rehabilitation is needed following an illness or injury, look into short-term skilled nursing with a clearly defined exit plan. Consider leaving housing arrangements intact for at least 6 months when entering a care facility. Most importantly, understand that transitioning out of institutional care typically requires advocacy, either your own or from committed family members or professionals. Elder law attorneys and aging life care managers, formerly called geriatric care managers, can be valuable allies in navigating exits from institutional settings. Had I understood these 7 realities before making my decision, I would have explored every possible alternative before choosing a nursing home. The good news is that I eventually did find my way out, though it took nearly a year of planning, advocacy, and rebuilding my strength. Today I live in a small apartment with carefully chosen support services that help me maintain my independence. My quality of life has improved dramatically, and I've regained control over the basic elements of daily living that most people take for granted. But I can't forget the thousands of seniors still living in nursing homes not because they need that level of care, but because they don't know their options or how to access them. If you or someone you love is facing decisions about long-term care, please remember that nursing homes should be the last resort, not the default option. Home and community-based services, technology supports, creative housing arrangements, and family care partnerships can often provide better care at lower costs, with far better quality of life. The decisions we make about aging matter profoundly, not just for our physical health but for our happiness, dignity, and sense of self. You deserve to make those decisions with complete awareness of what institutional living really means, not based on brochures or well-intentioned but incomplete advice from medical professionals. If this video has helped you understand the realities of nursing home life, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might benefit. Subscribe to my channel for more unfiltered truths about aging in America, including my upcoming video on 7 alternatives to nursing homes that preserve your independence. Remember, your later years should be lived on your terms. Don't let anyone convince you that institutionalization is the only safe option. With the right information and planning, you can maintain both safety and independence throughout your entire life journey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.